please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Well, Dr. Sen, what should the doctor prescribe? There are, of course, dangers to growth, no two ways about it. E-way bill will start in April. That also is going to have its own disruption to growth. Nevertheless, the mandate is inflation and crude is at 70. What should the MPC do by way of action?
Well, you know, the fact is that you really can't go by looking simply at what the current price of crude is. Because we are now in a world where the crude prices are going to yo-yo because the shale oil producers will be moving in and out of production depending upon how prices are behaving. So oil is going to be range bound, but it's going to move around. And I don't think we should get terribly worked up about its immediate short-run movement. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Insofar as the upside risk to inflation is concerned, which is in terms of the MSP, again, I wouldn't worry too much about it. The fact of the matter is that the MSP is only as good as the government's ability to support that price. And the fact is that the institutional infrastructure is simply not there. You can announce any price you want, but the market is going to be doing exactly what it thinks it should be doing. It won't care about the MSP very much. So I don't think that is an immediate risk. It will become a risk if you know, the government's procurement infrastructure or the deficit payment arrangements become stronger. Then the ball game changes, but that's not happening in the next season. At the moment, I think the real issue is what's going to happen on the growth side, both for domestic reasons as well as for global reasons. So in this particular situation, I would probably be a little cautious, because as far as growth is concerned, you really don't have to be ahead of the curve. Inflation is a different ballgame. But on growth, you don't have to be ahead of the curve. So that's what we should be looking at.
Okay, caution. And actually, you know, come to think of it, Soumya, and I want to get you in on this. You know, although the 2-3 policies ago, the Reserve Bank cut after coming to neutral, bond yields have since gone higher, despite the, you know, last 2 weeks mellowing. And MCLR rates have been hiked by banks. So quite contrary to what the Reserve Bank did. How should the RBI tackle?
See, I think here there is actually the peculiar conundrums of the bond market. I'll just give you some numbers. For example, currently, if you look into the core liquidity in the banking system, which is basically the liquidity after adjust for the government cash balances, that has declined from a high of around 4 lakh crores in the beginning of this year to less than 1 lakh crore as of now, I think around 80,000 crore. And if you look into the repo numbers, the repo, all term repo and net it off of the reverse repo, including the term reverse repo, you will find that the system is already running at a deficit of around 50,000 crores. So my sense is that the system is running at a deficit. And the other important thing is that if you actually look into the spread between the 10-year yield and the repo rate, the spread is currently around more than 170 to 180 basis points on the old paper. Historically, the median spread between the two papers has been around 70 basis points. So I think there is an element of irrationality in the market. And the other important thing is that if we just juxtapose a calculation by looking into the demand supply maths of the bond market in the next year, you will find that even if you are assuming, say, a 10% growth in the bank's NDTL and assuming that the market shares of the banks, scheduled commercial banks, primary dealers, mutual funds remain at the same level which it was in this year, you will still find that there could be a deficit of close to 1.5 lakh crores in the banking system in terms of the papers to be absorbed by the market. So at some point of time, the RBI needs to seriously address this issue. How does it want to, whether it wants to inject liquidity, or whether it wants to do it through a permanent mode or other mode. Otherwise, what is going to happen is that the bond markets will stay at an elevated level, and at some point of time, it could have some amount of a negative impact on the market sentiments.